In today's video, we're going to be going through and discussing Mephala Daedric Shrine quest in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. In order to begin this quest, we must be at least level 15. Unlike some other Daedric Shrine quests that we've already covered, there are a few NPCs throughout Cyrodiil who will be able to point out the shrine on our map. The first NPC is Luther Broad. Luther is the publican at Luther Broad's boarding house inn in the Elven Gardens district of the Imperial City. Speaking with him sounds like this.
Luther Broad's boarding house. I'm Luther. You want beds or food? See me.
In order to get the information that we desire, we must raise his disposition past 60 and ask him about the Imperial City.
Daedric shrines nearby. I know of two. North of the city, south of Bruma, east of the Silver Road is a Mephala shrine. East of the city, at the head of the Red River, is a shrine to Vermina.
And just like that, we get both shrine locations marked on our map, leaving no guesswork to be done. The second NPC we can seek out who will share Mephala's shrine location with us is Ontis Vannon. Ontis can also be found in the Imperial City. He has a house in the Talos Plaza district, however he's a little trickier to track down. He splits his time up wandering around both the Talos Plaza district and the Market district. In order for Ontis to tell us about the Daedric shrines, we had to have read the book Modern Heretics, which we already have, or have spoken with Ulain Hlurvu in Shadenhall about Shadenhall, which we already did. Speaking with Ontis sounds like this.
Ontis Vannon, retired. Sleep late and read trashy books. I don't keep up with the Mages Guild affairs anymore.
We ask him about Daedra shrines.
I can think of three. The Hersheen Shrine is south of town, northeast of Breville, between the Upper Niben and the Green Road. The Mephala Shrine is northeast of the junction of the Red Ring Road and the Silver Road. I've heard there's a Varamina Shrine at the headwaters of the Reed River, though I've never been there myself.
And just like that, we'll have the markers for those three shrines added to our map as well. Popping open our map and taking a look around, we see that Mephala Shrine is in the Heartlands. It's north of the Imperial City Sewer, and directly northeast of Moss Rock Cavern as well as Roxy Inn. We fast travel over to Roxy Inn and make our way over to the shrine by foot. The only tedious part to this journey is making our way up the hill. Pretty soon we arrive at Mephala Shrine. As standard, there are three worshippers here. We have Cyrodiil the Wood Elf, Rona the Redguard, and Dredena Hlavel the Dark Elf. We speak with the former two for some dialogue.
I am only a supplicant. Speak to the Dark Elf wearing the robes.
I'm not the one you want to talk to.
At their request, we turn to Dredena and speak with her.
You approach the shrine of Mephala. The web spinner watches you, stranger.
We inquire about the shrine.
Mephala tugs the strings of mortals for her pleasure. Are you sure you desire audience with the web spinner?
We tell her we do.
Leave Mephala an offering of nightshade at the shrine between midnight and dawn, and the web spinner may grant you an audience.
We exit the conversation and see that Mephala's Daedric Shrine quest got added to our journal. In order to continue with this quest, exactly as Dredena said, we must find a sample of nightshade and offer it to the statue between the times of midnight and dawn, which in other words is 12 AM and 6 AM. Nightshade is a plant/ingredient that can be found all across Cyrodiil. Just like any other plant, it grows in the wilderness. Thanks to this map though, provided by the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, we do see that most nightshade plants can be found in the Westweald section of the province. Now, if you don't already have it in your inventory, or you don't feel like adventuring out to find it, there are two places that are fairly easy to acquire it from. The first stop is the main ingredient in the Imperial City Market District. By going inside and speaking with Ogier Georic, he actually has 5 samples of nightshade available for sale. He sells them for 2 gold apiece, and even the poorest of characters shouldn't have a problem acquiring it. Now, the second spot we can go to in order to retrieve nightshade is the Coral Mages Guild Hall. By entering inside the building and going on upstairs to the library section, we'll find ourselves in a central big room that has a dining table placed in the middle. On top of this table, we'll actually find 3 samples of nightshade. Either way, with the ingredient in our inventory, we can fast travel back to Mephala Shrine. Now, we force a wait for any time between 12 AM and 6 AM. Once the wait's over, we approach the statue and interact with it. We're prompted to offer the nightshade, we say yes.
Call me Webspinner. Pluck but a single thread, and the weave unravels. In Bleaker's Way, true families, Nord and Dunmer, live in perfect harmony, but beneath the surface lurks the secret seed of strife. Kill the leaders of the two families, plant evidence to implicate the other family as the killer. And don't get caught, be cunning, don't spoil my scheme, and don't die. That would spoil everything.
We get a quest update summarizing everything that Mephala just said. We're to go to the settlement of Bleaker's Way, kill the leaders of two mighty families, and have them pin the blame on each other. We open up our map and see that Bleaker's Way isn't far off from us. It's a short ways west of Mephala's shrine, but we see that it's even closer to Unmarked Cave. We arrive and walk in the direction of east-northeast for just a little bit. Fairly quickly, we see Bleaker's Way in the distance. We scale down the mountainside to get to it, and find ourselves in the middle of the village. Our first impression is that it's fairly big. Most settlements have 3 to 4 homes, while this one seems to have upwards of 7. At the moment, we don't see anybody outside, but we look around at the nameplates on the houses and see the surname of Dalvalu on a few of them and Ulfgar on the rest. We wander through the village for a little more before finding our first sign of life. We approach the older Dunmer named Nivan Dalvalu and speak with him.
Hail, traveller! You are welcome in Bleaker's Way.
We ask him about the settlement.
Dalvalus have lived here peacefully with Ulfgars for generations. As leaders, Hrol Ulfgar and I work hard to preserve that tradition.
We ask him about Hrol Ulfgar.
Hrol Ulfgar leads the Ulfgar clan. He is a fierce warrior and a wise leader. All the Dalvalu respect the man.
We leave the conversation and see that we have updated quest markers. One of them points to Nivan, and the other brings us to Bleaker's Way Goodwill Inn. We go inside and are face to face with Hrol Ulfgar himself. We speak with him.
Welcome to Bleaker's Way, stranger. What can I do for you?
We ask him about himself.
I am Hrol Ulfgar.
We then ask him about Nivan Dalvalu.
He leads the Dalvalu family. He is a wise man and a powerful wizard.
Exiting the conversation, we want to hear what the other residents of Bleakwell think about their leaders. We go a little further down into the inn and speak with the proprietor, Kirsten.
Welcome to Bleaker's Way, stranger. What can I do for you?
We ask her about Hrol.
He leads the Ulfgar clan. He is slow to anger, but fierce with his axe. All the clan values his leadership and judgment.
We exit the inn and go to a member of the Dalvalu clan's house. We find Redis Dalvalu and speak with him.
Hail, traveller! You are welcome in Bleaker's Way.
We ask him about Nivan.
He is the head of our family. He works powerful magic, but his true gift is compromise. He is a wise leader.
Trying to speak with any of the other members of either clan, we'll see that there are no more unique dialogue options. So it seems like we definitely have our work cut out for us. According to all of the clan members, both leaders of either clan have a really good relationship with one another. So therefore, there's no pre-existing tension that we can work off of. It seems as though we're going to have to dig deep and get in touch with our sinister and evil side. In order to carry out the plan exactly as Mephala wants us to, we have to find some sort of evidence that will incriminate either clan leader for the murder of the opposite leader. We start off in Hrol's house. By making our way up the stairs and onto the second floor, we go into a little side room that has a table. Sitting on the table beside a Guide to Leywin book, we see the Ulfgar family ring. Picking it up, we receive a quest notification that this will work just fine. We leave Hrol's house and make our way over to Nivan's. Immediately on the right side of the cabin, we'll find another little table, and this one will have the Dalvalu ceremonial dagger. By picking it up, we receive another quest notification that this will also work in terms of leaving incriminating evidence. Now, all that's left to do is kill both Hrol and Nivan. Remembering what Mephala said, we have to do this in secrecy. So we figure the best way to do this is by waiting until the cover of night for both clan leaders to go inside of their secluded homes, break in, and kill them as they sleep. We started with Hrol Ulfgar. We went inside of his house and went upstairs. Although we didn't see him in his bed. Descending back down, Hrol was actually waiting for us at the bottom of the stairs. Fortunately, he wasn't worried about us being in here, nor was he suspicious. We took out Goldbrand and began hacking away. Ulfgar didn't put up a very good fight, and with a few swings and slashes, the leader of the Nord clan was dead. We then went into Hrol's inventory and placed the Dalvalu ceremonial dagger on his corpse. We received a quest update that this should suffice for pinning the murder on the Dalvalu clan. Exiting Hrol's home, we now make our way over to Nivon's house. Entering inside, we see the patriarch strolling around in his home. We take out Goldbrand and get the jump on him before he even knew what happened. After a few slashes, the leader of the Dalvalu clan was killed. We now go into Nivon's inventory and place the Ulfgar family ring. We get a quest update, and now all that's left to do is tell either side of the clan members that their leaders were killed. It definitely is rather interesting and something else that even though we're pinning the murder on either clan leader, they were killed in two separate homes. So you'd think it's rather obvious that they didn't kill each other, but I suppose that just adds to the charm of this quest. We wait until daytime for both sides to awaken and enter inside of Bleaker's Way Goodwill Inn. We find a member of the Ulfgar clan and speak with them.
These are troubled times in Bleaker's Way. What do you want?
We tell Barrier about Hrol.
Hrol Ulfgar has been murdered, and the Dalvalu are responsible. They will pay for their treachery, the wretched Dunmer.
We then ask about Nivon.
Dalvalu has been murdered, and we have been accused of the crime. Bastard elves. That they would dishonor us in this way.
We exit the conversation.
Farewell.
The Ulfgar clan ready their weapons and leave the inn. We follow and see that the Dalvalu clan has already cornered a member of the Ulfgar clan. Barrier and Kirsten run in to help out Ulrika. All the meanwhile, Satha, Redas, Malyani, and Arvin begin targeting the Nords. All hell breaks loose as the remaining 7 residents of Bleaker's Way fight to kill the other half. The first one to die is Ulrika Ulfgar. She was the first one targeted by the Dalvalus, so it was certainly only a matter of time. The next one to die is Kirsten Ulfgar, the proprietor of the Goodwill Inn. The last Ulfgar standing is Barrier. He puts up a good fight against the Dunmer, holding his own in a 4 against 1. He even manages to kill Malyani Dalvalu. However, the circumstances are more than certainly too overwhelming. The last of the Ulfgar clan goes down in battle. The Dalvalus emerge victorious and are now the sole residents of Bleaker's Way. We speak with some of the Dalvalus to hear some dialogue.
The Ulfgars are all dead.
Whatever possessed them to attack us like that?
All 3 remaining Dalvalu clan members are clueless as to what just transpired. All they know is that the Ulfgars attacked them because they believe that Nivon murdered Hrol, and vice versa. We fast travel back to Mephal's shrine as our work here is done. Approaching the Daedric Princess statue, we interact with it.
Well done, little web spinner. Is there a prettier sight than friends at war? Take pleasure in the strife you have caused, mortal.
We get a quest update that because we successfully completed Mephal's task, we were rewarded with the leveled, enchanted, and unique Daedric weapon called Ebony Blade. Going into our inventory and taking a look at it, we see that it is a one-handed blade that deals 24 base damage. It has the enchantment of silence for 10 seconds on strike, as well as absorb health for 8 points on strike. If we wanted to sell the blade, it could fetch us 6,512 septims. The blade looks fairly similar to Goldbrand in its overall aesthetic, but there are a few differences here and there. Before we go any further into the lore of both Mephala and the Ebony Blade, let's discuss ways in which we can fail the quest. For starters, if we're caught committing any crime in Bleaker's Way, the residents will turn against us, in turn prompting a failure notification for the quest. In this instance, we saw both Nivon and Hrol outside together. Nobody else was around to witness our deeds, so we decided to see what would happen if we killed one of them in front of the other. Even though there would be no witnesses left, and the scene would look even more believable, we still received the failure notification because we were caught committing a crime. Killing both clan leaders and attempting to speak with any of the other residents will sound like this.
We know how to deal with criminals in Bleaker's Way.
Reloading our save and killing both clan leaders in secluded areas, we decided to break into one of the Dalvalu members' house during the nighttime and inform them of what we found.
What is it? There's trouble here in Bleaker's Way.
We tell her about Hrol first.
Thrall Ulfgar is dead, and his clan believes our family responsible. This is madness.
We then tell her about Nevon.
Nevon has been murdered, and by one of the Ulfgar clan. Barbaric Nords. Mindless animals. They will pay for their actions.
Interestingly, after exiting the conversation, Satha Dalvalu went back to bed. And just as interesting, we actually had to pick the lock to leave the cabin. Exiting back out into Bleaker's Way, the other 6 settlers went straight to war. The odds were a little more even this time, as not including the clan leaders, there are 4 Dalvalus and only 3 Ulfgars. With Satha trapped inside of her home, it made the fight a fair 3-on-3. The first person to fall in battle was Maliani Dalvalu. Following her was Kirsten Ulfgar. Just to see what would happen, we decided to step into the fight ourselves. The aftermath of the first fight resulted in a win for the Dalvalus, so this time around we decided to help out the Ulfgars. Successfully killing both Arvin and Redas without any penalty, we see that we have the ability to sway the fight in one way or the other, depending on which side we favor. The remaining Ulfgars are still on edge as Satha is still in her home. We enter inside and see that she's out of bed and ready for a fight. She leaves her cabin and we follow. She immediately conjures a ghost to her aid. With the specter by her side, she definitely has the upper hand. Ulrika and Barrier are definitely tired from defeating the other Dunmer. We watch the battle rage on for a bit as Satha delivers the killing blow on Barrier. At this rate, it's a 2v1 against Ulrika Ulfgar. Again, because we favor our fellow Nords, we deliver the killing blow on Satha, thus rendering the Ulfgars as the victors. We speak with Ulrika.
Every last dark elf in Bleaker's Way is dead. Such madness. How did it ever start?
Important to note throughout all of this is that we don't actually have to watch the fight between the Dunmer and the Nords. As soon as we provoke either clan to attack the other, we're free to go back to Mephala Shrine. An additional way for us to fail this quest is if every single resident in Bleaker Way is killed off before we return back to Mephala. Naturally, this would be very hard to accomplish if we let both clans duke it out, but if we were to step in and have an influence on the fight, there is a chance that it could result in the death of every single resident. There are some additional notes provided by the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages with regards to this quest. The most important one is that if you're trying to keep your character away from murdering innocent people, there are multiple ways to kill the clan leaders without getting our hands dirty. For starters, if we choose to lead any creature or animal out from the wilds of Cyrodiil over to Bleaker's Way, they could maul and kill the leaders for us. If we went ahead and completed Vermina's Daedric Shrine quest, as well as Sanguine's Daedric Shrine quest, we could then either use Sanguine Rose to summon a Daedra to do the dirty work for us, or we could use the Skull of Corruption to summon a copy and have the copy kill the leaders. The final 2 ways suggested are to either reverse pickpocket a poisoned apple into their inventories, or by playing the Persuasion minigame, we can lower their disposition below 15, which will then cause them to automatically attack us, resulting in their murder as self-defense. Now, let's bring the conversation back towards Mephala and the Ebony Blade. Reading directly off of the unofficial Elder Scrolls page article on Mephala, Mephala is a Daedric prince who is associated with murder, lies, deception, sex, and secrets, and is always weaving a web of intrigue and terror. Mephala interferes in the affairs of mortals for her own amusement and does nothing without purpose. In an essay analyzing the Daedric prince, Devaith Fur posits that Mephala likely doesn't see mortals as mere playthings, unlike some of her fellow princes. The web spinner deals in secrets and hidden lore. She and her worshippers value secrets and mysteries above all else. Those who stumble upon one of Mephala's shrines or a place where an artifact of hers is hidden may find Mephala whispering forbidden secrets in their ears. It's safe to say that with this information, Mephala is not one of the Daedric princes to be considered not wholly evil. She sounds pretty malevolent to me. Switching the conversation over to the Ebony Blade, as mentioned before, it's a leveled, enchanted, unique Daedric artifact. It's a one-handed sword and has fairly powerful enchantments, as well as a pretty high overall damage rating. Unlike most of the Daedric weapons that we've already covered, the Ebony Blade actually does not have an article written about it in Tamrielic lore compiled by Yagrim Bagarn. However, I think there's a very good reason for this. The book, Tamrielic Lore, first appeared in the Elder Scrolls III Morrowind, and it turns out that Morrowind is the only game in the main installments where Ebony Blade does not make an appearance. And this is because the Daedric Prince, Mephala, rewards the Nerevarine with the Ring of Khajiit. For the other installments of the Elder Scrolls, starting with Arena, apparently the Ebony Blade was found by the Eternal Champion, Talon, in the province of Valenwood. During the events of Daggerfall, an agent of the Blades was tasked by Mephala to kill a noble in the Ilek Bay. Mephala then would have awarded our character with the Ebony Blade. We obviously know the events that transpired during Oblivion, and for Skyrim, the Blade has arguably the most interesting story. Jarl Balgruuf of Whiterun came into possession of the Blade. Knowing the evil and sinister entity that it belongs to, he tried to destroy it in the Skyforge but was unsuccessful. Therefore, he hid it deep within the lower levels of Dragon's Reach. While playing in the area, Nelkir, one of the Jarl's children, started hearing whispers coming from the door. Mephala was trying to contact the child and attempted to poison and twist their mind. It's here the Dragonborn is given the key to the door and is able to acquire the blade. However, in one last sinister plot, Mephala tells the Dragonborn that in order to recharge the blade, we must kill those who are closest to us. Mephala's quest in Skyrim actually had a much darker and scarier plotline. However, due to various reasons, it had to be scrapped. One day we'll talk about it when we cover Skyrim, but for now we can confirm that this blade has dark ties to it. And with that, thus officially ends Mephala's Daedric Shrine quest. Until next time, keep on adventuring.